sky, that is what you are. Breathe and you know you're alive. Feel the beat of your heart. Well, life is a crazy way of turning everything upside down. So move with the time that you have. The world will keep spinning round. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep chasing the sunshine and go out and play. Listen, I wanna be there with you no matter where you go. Life is a table for two, and we're starting the show. Well, I'm gonna spread my wings and fly so high up above the clouds. You know that time doesn't wait for your dreams. We're living right here and now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. I should have sound now. Forgot to set on my mic. Here's the deal. I have moved to Minnesota and set up a new studio here. I still have my house in Georgia, new studio there. So new setup here, and this is my first live with all the new equipment. I think everything's working. If this is sound, now I can see everything's working here. I can hear it in my headpiece. So I think we're good to go. I will start over really quick. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It has been a hot minute since I have done a live. I was texting my partner before we got started saying, I'm kind of nervous. I haven't done a live by myself for so long. It's been a month or 2 months. I'm not even sure. But we're here. I'm really excited to do this one tonight. We're doing some Christmas in July. What made me think of doing Christmas in July is because everybody's doing Christmas in July. However, if you watch me on Men of Monroe, on the Brutus Monroe channel on Wednesdays with Walter, we did a live last night with our Christmas. And we did this stamp, and I'm going to hold this up for you to show you because this was my inspiration for tonight. So it's an awesome vintage style kind of stamp, and this is what's kind of inspired me. And so I remembered I had this stamp set from Tim Holtz. And I got this late last year. Never even got to use it for the holidays. So we're making a tag out of this. I want to start by saying if you are commenting, I'm not seeing any comments. Hopefully I set this up right so they stream up for me. If not, I will have to figure that out for next time. So if I'm missing your comments, I apologize. I will comment as soon as I see one pop up, just to say that it's working. So I apologize if you're commenting. All right, so we're going to use this stamp set. I'm going to go mixed media. I recently saw a quick little blurb on Instagram, and I forgot, I'll tag who it is in the comments afterwards, of this inspiration for tonight. I did a sample, and I'm going to change up my sample just a little bit from what I prepped and practiced with, and I'll show you the practice one here, because I just want to do it a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit more plaid, gingham, you know, that buffalo plaid Christmas kind of thing, because I think that would look great with this stamp set. So we're going to jump right into it and get started. Before we do that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're new here, would love to have you follow me. If you're not new here, thank you and welcome back. Glad to have you. You can follow me on Instagram at Manly Made Minute and hit that like and subscribe button and comment here on YouTube. That helps me a lot. So let's head on down to the down camera and take a look at what we have. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. So this is, I'm going to zoom in. There we go. There we go. This was the sample that I made. And I'm going to do this slightly different tonight, but this was with the texture paste on just a regular number 8 tag, okay? Used all distress line from Tim Holtz on this one. And let's see, I'm going to turn up my volume here because you can't hear me well, I'm being told. So hopefully that will help. I'm going to move this in just a little bit. Hopefully that'll help as well. All right. So we're going to make this tag. We're going to start out by prepping the tag and getting our texture paste on here. I'm going to do that slightly different. I have one prepped that's going to be different than what I'm doing tonight because I want the overall look different. I prepped this tag for how I made this one, but this will actually just show you a different option as well. Okay, so let me just go back here really quick, and I just want to check on my sound as I'm being told. Let's just increase this just a little bit here. Hopefully this helps just a little bit. I'm going to increase my gain here on my mic, and hopefully that'll help with the sound here. Let's just check this one more time. All right, hopefully that helps. I'll try to talk just a little bit louder as well. All right, let's just get going. Hopefully I can get the tech issues figured out for next time and tweak it. I've got my partners listening and giving me some feedback. So, all right, here's what I did for the tag I prepped. I prepped this with some white gesso because if I had any of that gaps in that texture paste, I wanted a white background because I was going to paint over it anyway. I just didn't want this craft vanilla color to show through, okay? I'm going to still prep this with white gesso, but I'm still going to leave some open spots without texture paste tonight because we're going to throw some plaid paper on here. Gesso is awesome. If you don't know what gesso is, if you're doing any sort of mixed media, any sort of watercolor or smushing and things on paper that's not necessarily made to do that, it'll soak it up too much, unlike a mixed media paper or watercolor paper where that's the fibers of it is made to do so. Throw yourself on some gesso. It comes in clear, black, and white, depending on what you want to do, all right? This just, lack of a better term, and it says it right on the package, this just gives that paper some tooth. It gives it some texture as this dries to be able to take on ink or whatever medium you're going to throw on it, okay? And so if you're going to ink smush, it won't just soak into the paper. It will actually sit on the surface of this gesso and do the blooming, the blending, the smushing that you want it to do. On paper, it wasn't made to do so. It takes on mediums and things really well as well, all right? The thing about gesso, it does dry very quickly, so I didn't prep that. We'll just give this some little dry here, because this does dry quick. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some plaid over the top of this. And I'm going to use a gel medium as my glue to do that. Then I'm going to throw over the top my texture paste. And for my texture paste, I'm going to throw this one aside. I showed you that one. I'm pulling out this stencil by Tim Holtz because it gives me that, I don't have the crackle paste, which ideally would be ideal for this, but this gives me that crackle kind of feel that I want, whether it be snow, whether it be just ice or whatever. Now, on my sample, and I did this on the one I prepped as well that we're going to color and stuff as this one dries, but the sample, I used the opaque texture paste and the grit snowfall. Grit snowfall dries kind of clear. I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that. You could, if you wanted to ink blend over top of this now, leave the color, throw your grit paste over the top. Just make sure that this is dry, because those do take on the color just slightly, and it soaks up the color into these mediums, all right? So we're going to add that. This came with this stamp set, and I'm just showing you where I got this from. This one is from the Stampers Anonymous set, and it came with the these little mixed media kind of stamps and stuff to throw with it. But I'm just using the stamp of that. All right, what I want to do here now is I'm going to do some ink blending first, then, and I'm just going to ink smush it actually, and dry it, and then we're going to throw some, I have some plaid paper behind me to do just some random torn up pieces. I want this very vintage, very torn up, rough and tattered. I got a little trick I'm going to show you when I go to do the stamps, but we'll when I get there, I'll show you that. All right, I'm just using my glass mat to do this. I know it doesn't spread as nice as a mixed media mat, but I'm going with what's easy this evening rather than getting out all the mats and all the things, right? I'm just going to throw some of this up in the corner, up in the top here, because that is primarily where I'm going to throw this. I'm just going to do a little citron to get a little brighter on that. All right. I'll just do one more little shot with some green here. And I'm mixing this up just a little bit from how I did my sample. So just know that, all right? This is what I mean with the gesso, is that it takes this and it still allows me to move and do things with this versus just soak up into that paper. So dry this up. This is all I want. Actually, I want just a tiny bit more green on that. Guys, I'm not seeing any comments, so I apologize. If you're commenting, I just apparently don't have that set up correctly. So let me just go. I'm going to see if I can't pull it up on my screen here just to watch it via YouTube itself as well as I'm drying this, just so that I can watch comments, I think, over here. Oh, now that's coming in my ear, so we're going to turn that down. I don't need to hear myself on that. All right. All right, now I can see you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. All right, BD Crafts, welcome, welcome. Everybody's commenting I was muted and I was not on sound, but thank you, Mommy Guide Candy. Welcome, Teresa Glitter Grunge. Hello, hello. Thank you guys for showing up. I know it's been a long time here since I've done a live, and I feel kind of weird doing this by myself without my right-hand man from Brutus Monroe, Walter. So, oh, there we go. Love, love, love that. I will tell you, if you do not have mixed media paper or watercolor paper, put gesso on it. If you're going to ink smush, if you're going to do any sort of technique like this, you got to have gesso on it. Otherwise, it's not going to do what you want it to do, okay? All right, this is almost dry. And so now I'm going to show you the one I prepped because it's similar to the one I practiced on, so it's going to look different than this. I think this one's going to turn out much better, not going to lie, but this one's going to be just fine. I just have all the texture paste on this. I did one all with texture paste on here. I didn't add any paper and things. I could probably try to add it, but because there's so much texture and get it to stick, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm already going to do just what I had planned. And if this dries in time, we can always add a little bit on this at the end. Okay, I'm going to move this aside until I'm done prepping this one. Now, I have this book of plaid Mad for plaid paper. There is, and you can see the different ones in here. I want this one. There's also this buffalo kind of stuff in here, but I think it's that one. Let me just look. I want that one, I think. I want this still to have a Christmas, plaid Christmas, mixed media, rough kind of lumberjack Christmas. Yeah, I want this one. I want this one. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut myself a rough piece and then tear it up. So I'm just going to cut one here to rough size here. Oh, Teresa. Okay, you guys, if you watched Bruce Monroe last night, if you haven't, go check it out. It's on my channel. It's also on the Bruce Monroe channel. Walter and I always chit-chat before the live. Just, how are you? I'm good. Here, we're prepped. We're ready. We got to talk about next week's live and yada, yada, yada. We always have our routine, and we chit-chat and catch up for a little bit. And so then when we go live and that little pre-thing is showing, we can see each other in the background. You guys cannot, so our cameras look gray and just in this little circle. And I wasn't really paying much attention. I was kind of just I had a little drink, my little water I was sipping on and wetting my whistle before we got started, and I was just double checking my table to make sure I had everything. And so I wasn't really paying attention to what he was doing. And then when I switched the cameras back, oh my God, it literally took me by the biggest surprise. Like it just, and not surprised that he would do it, but yeah, I was like, don't laugh too hard, Sean, don't laugh too hard. It was funny. It was perfect. It was just perfect for that live too. Elfie John or whatever he called himself. Now I can't remember. I think it was Elfie John. All right, so I'm just taking and roughing these up. And I had a little gap here. I'm not going to re-ink that, so I'm just covering that piece up like so. All right, now to put this on, I'm going to use a gel medium, which is like a glue, rather than using, because this just spreads nicer than using your regular glue and get the beads and the bumps and stuff. It just smooths it down, and I'm going to do it on both sides so it sticks down, and then I have it matted and glossed over, okay? And to do this, I'm just using a good old cheap crafty sponge to do so. Like so. And the nice thing about the gel medium is this dries really quick too. So it doesn't take much to get this dry. All right, and then we'll just throw this. Now I'm going to keep this just over my paper. It will dry clear, but I don't want to get the glue on the rest. Doesn't matter if I did, to be honest, for what I'm going to do with this. But I'm going to just put now my texture paste random over all of this. All right, set this aside. Let me just clean up this glue so we can do our texture paste. All right. I love the look of just plaid and things at Christmas. We've got a plaid tree skirt and things, and I just love that plaid look. All right, now I'm going to take, this has got to dry still, but I can still apply my texture paste to this while this is drying, doesn't matter. Okay. Now, rather than cover my whole thing like I did here, I want this a little different. So I'm just going to do random chunks through my stencil all over here, just to give it some snow kind of effect, right? So, and I don't need this. If I wanted this super chunky, I'd tap this and leave it like peaks and chunky. I don't really want this too chunky. I just need smooth pieces all over is all I'm going for. Throw some kind of random, use it to cover up spots too that you like. Maybe you don't like the coloring in one spot, or I missed a spot there, so I'm adding it there. That's honestly what I'm doing. So use this stuff to cover up. It's mixed media. I mean, right? Like, it's like, it's just do what you need to do. I was prepping for this, and Hey, Jim, welcome. Melissa, welcome, welcome, you guys. Thank you for stopping in on my live this evening. Appreciate it. You're only seeing me on Facebook. Manly Made Minute on my personal YouTube page, Melissa. You can find me streaming on Facebook and on my YouTube page. You may not see comments coming up on Facebook because I'm streaming through Restream, and Restream does not allow the comments to come through from Facebook. So if you want to watch everybody's comments, go to my YouTube channel and Manly Made Minute, and you'll see everything streaming there. Okay? All right. Now, I would let this dry. What you could do here before I put this away and we start doing the things, I would trim this down. I can trim this down, which I will when it dries. I could take and sprinkle some glitter in this. I could sprinkle some embossing powder through here. You could leave this, let it dry, sprinkle some embossing powder, and then heat it. Just remember, if you add heat to this, didn't see the live. I'm watching it right now on my channel, Melissa, so I'm not sure why, but I can see it on my computer through the YouTube channel. But if not, watch me on Facebook. I don't think you can just comment. And I'm seeing the comments; they'll come through on the YouTube channel, so you're good. You could sprinkle it on. Just know that if you add heat to this, it will puff up. Okay, this medium, if you apply heat, will puff. So it would have to be very light heat in quick little blurbs like spots to get your embossing. But you could add glitter and different things to this and mix this up. You could stamp over this, but you're going to want to wait till that dries. All right, we're going to move on. So I'm going to put this aside because now I would do the same thing to this that I'm going to do to this once this dries. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with this one, similar to like I did with my example at the beginning, we're going to spray this, and then I'm going to paint in the crevices and around the edges and stuff to antique this up a little bit. So I'm just going to I'm using the Distress. So I'm using my Twisted Citron, which is like my favorite Distress green. And I'm using Barn Door Red. And I'm going to just slightly wet this now to get this to move. I just want this to bloom. That's it. Okay, so a little bit more citron in that. Now I'm just going to add my moss green, and I'd wait till the end with this because it's so dark. And I think we're going to leave it there. I'm pretty happy with that there. I like that moss because that does in the crevices what I need to do with the paintbrush with some other colors anyway. So that just goes into there really well. Now know when you do this texture, like I said before, this texture paste takes on the color, right? It's not going to stay white. My splatter box, yes, Layla, it's getting some love. I need a new one. I had a really great one back in Georgia with the angled sides and things, and it worked better to spray in. I just haven't cut the sides down on this one yet. So, but it definitely gets the love. That's for sure. It was lonely on Facebook. I know. Are you back? Oh, it looks like you are on YouTube. Did you find me, Melissa? Like it should be there. All right. Now I'm going to add, but I'm going to wait till I'm done painting on this. I'm going to add some Distress Spritz to give me my shine I want because this mattes down pretty good. But I'm really kind of liking this feel on here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my favorite Distress ink of all time, Rusty Hinge. I'm going to take a little walnut stain, and I'm going to take my reds and greens that I was using. So my Lumberjack Plaid and my Mowed Lawn, and I'm going to add some aged mahogany. And I'm just going to test this out. I am taking kind of a thinner paintbrush, not my fans. We're going to get those fans out in a second. And we're going to paint in the crevices. So I'm going to start with my green and my lighter of the red. So I'm working light to dark when I do this. I have a little, whoops, sorry if I hit the mic there. I have a little dish of water, so I can just move my ink around with the water. Remember, this is water activated, this distress line, right? Hey, Delise, welcome, you guys. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. Now, taking this, and I'm just kind of following the crevices. The idea here is I just want this to look like it's all, this color has landed into the crevices. Okay, so I'm just really roughly following all of these lines. Like so. And I am seeing, because this got so much good color with the sprays, I'm not going to mess with this green. It's not giving me what I want. So I'm going to move on to the other ones, and I'm not going to add any more green. So we're going to go on to my red, and now my red I know should pop up. And remember, these are water activated. So once I get this on, I'm going to just give it a tiny spritz and then let that settle where it needs to settle. So you can see I'm just trying to follow a path as if it's rusted through. And I'm going to do one color at a time, so this I can get it where I want it and then wet it and dry it. So now I'm just going to give this a little spritz of water. Let me get my dry gun out here. Oh, thank you, Layla. Okay, so now a little spritz to get that to move again. And now I just want to get that to move around. There we go. And dry it. I'm going to add my rusty. I'm not going to do any more reds, so I'm going to take the aged mahogany. I just get everything out in case I need it. Oh, I know what I was talking about earlier. When I was prepping for this live, I'm dabbling into mixed media more and loving, because there's the freedom of it. But I was realizing when I was prepping for this live, and I feel like it's mixed media people probably get it, is I have everything and every possible out on my desk here just in case I need it. So I got this color out. I got the fan brushes out. I got the paint brushes. I got the spray bottles. I got the water. I got all the things out. I'm like, when I make a regular card, I don't get this much stuff out. I just leave it in the drawers. But for some reason, I'm like, mixed media, I gotta like pile it all on and have it all out. And it's not like I can't reach in my drawers, which are right here, but for some reason, every time I do, even if I'm not filming and I'm doing something like this, I get it all out. I don't know why. All right, Rusty Hinge, my favorite. And Walnut Stain. I got into the Rusty Hinge kick by Googling on YouTube and watching some videos on how to make rust on vehicles. I'm telling you, this color, I just love. It does what you want it to do. I just love it. You want to rust anything out and make it look old? Rusty Hinge. I'm telling you. It does look a little fallish. Yeah. In person, though, this is really red. I'm seeing on screen. It's looking a little more fallish, but hopefully once I get my spritzes on here and sparkle this up, and then we'll get my ornaments on. And I'm keeping those till last because those are easy to do. And then while this is finishing drying, I'll stamp those out and color them. And I just don't need this as wet because I need this just a little bit more intense. So yeah, just dirty it up. Get it grungy, get it dirty. And, once we get things on here, it's still going to have a very rustic, grungy Christmas. A grungy Griswold Christmas, I guess. All right. Kind of digging this because I'm actually going to take now with my brush. Let me dry this, and then I'm going to take with my my pad and finish this off around the edges that I want to do here. Just get it dry so it doesn't just keep smearing on me. All right. Dry. Okay, so I'm just gonna rough up the edges. I'm gonna get some, let me just get a new pad here actually. So I can do the rusty hinge with a new pad. So rusty hinge. Get that all nice and loaded up. How about the rest of you? Are you guys hitting? I know some of you design team members of, with me on here are doing some Christmas in July, but anybody else getting out their Christmas in July and making anything yet? Or starting our Christmas cards like we're supposed to in July, I guess? Therese, can I do the same effect that I'm doing with just my pastes? Same effect as in what? If you're mushing it through a stencil, any paste. I've got opaques, I've got translucents, I've got the sparkles, I've got the grits. Yes, I can mush it through. Now, you could also, what would be fun is, and I think this is what you're talking about, so let me just do it really quick. If you don't want to push this through a stencil, or even if you do, and rather than spray and do this, if you wanted to color your paste, so like if I wanted to do this, right? And then I'm just gonna take the moss. This is my forest moss, and color it, and color my paste versus spray on my paste, right? So now I've got a nice green kind of paste. I could smush this through the stencils. I had these on the sides in case I wanted them. When I made this, prepped this one, I had extra paste on my palette knife. So I took 2 mini stencils and just smushed it on. Let's see if I can get up close, if that'll focus for me. There we go. And you can see I just smushed it on. You can do the same thing with this, and I'll actually do this with this. I can just take this and just smush it. And I think, Teresa, this is what you're talking about, right? Now, if I wanted to do the same thing again, let me just grab a new palette knife really quick. I am like your gesso. Oh, gesso. Gesso doesn't get thick like this. It doesn't do its thing. Gesso just gives your paper grit to take on ink, and I did that to ink smush. But yeah, you could color your pastes and things and do the reverse versus spray, color and smear, and different look. And I think it would look really good. I hope that answers a little bit for you. But yes, most of these pastes you can color or pre-color and then smush it on for sure. All right, I kind of have what I want. I was just going through and roughing this up just a little bit more with my foam pads. And then I'm going to sparkle this up and dry it, and then we're going to do our stamps, and I'll show you how I put the stamps on. Again, keeping this rustic kind of feel. All right, we're good on that, I think, for right now. Let me get out my splatter box again. So I'm using, this one gets dark. Let me see what else I got behind me. This is the Lumberjack Plaid Distress Spritz. And for some reason, my camera does not want to focus tonight, does it? There we go. Just come out a little bit, I guess, Sean. I have, let's see. Oh, I do have Barn Door. And I do have the Rustic Wilderness, which might be dark and sage. Pardon me. Or, no, Frayed Burlap doesn't get. I also have this one, but it gets really, this has a huge amount of coverage, which is the mica spray, and this is the tarnished brass mica spray. And I was going to give it a little bit of this, but if you spray this, this has a lot of coverage. This stays a little bit more translucent. I'm going to switch from my lumberjack plaid to my barn door. It's a little bit more of a red. All right, let me just get this shaken up. Splatter box this. I don't know why I feel like I got to stand up for some of this stuff. All right, get that good and mixed up. There we go. All right. I'm just going to give this just a little bit. Then I'm going to take that brass and give it a little bit of brass over the top. All right, dry this, and then we'll start up on our stamps. Now, to keep in with my grungy, rustic kind of theme, I am stamping these stamps on the sample one. I used a different paper, and I'll show you that paper. It's packing paper, okay? I didn't want this too clean. I needed a thin paper that I could put this on with all this texture. So it's packing paper. So I'll set this aside to dry, and I'll show you what I did. And then I'm actually gonna use craft packing paper tonight, but I used this whitish gray packing paper. Tonight, I'm going to use craft for my stamps. Just tear a piece off. Easy peasy, nothing too complicated. And I'm using a block to stamp these. All right, and let's see if I can find where I set those stamps at right here. All right. I did 3 stamps, and so I did the top 3. I did not do the skate. So we'll just do those 3 again because I wanted to color them and get some color on here. Because I'm going to watercolor, I'm using my VersaFine ink because that's waterproof. Melissa, yes, and that is partial to the inspiration tonight of getting out the packing paper was I know Walter would totally be doing this, so that was part of the inspiration of getting out the packing paper for the evening, to be very honest. I would make Papa Walter proud. So again, just ink it up really good because I get a one and done for the stamp part of it. I'm spreading them out just a little bit because of the way I want to tear these, and I'll show you that when we get to that part. I just love these stamps. The whole, it almost looks like a drawing on architect paper kind of thing. I just love it. I was really disappointed. I got this late in the season from I think it was Simon Says Stamp. I did 2 or 3 mystery box purchases last year that I'd never done before. Gina K was one of them. Simon Says Stamp was one of them. And just the biggest variety of stuff came in them, from Christmas to fall to stuff that I was like, oh, I probably wouldn't have purchased these, but I love it. This was one of them that came in. I believe this was in my Simon Says Stamp kit. So, to get this a little matchy-matchy, I am getting out my reds and my greens again, and I'm just going to watercolor these. And then we're going to tear these out, and I'll show you my tearing effect that helps get you a little bit more controlled and a little bit more feathery kind of tear. And this was not my green, I think, was it? No. We're going to go, let's see if I can get I just need a little bit darker green, if I have one in here. I think I do. Yeah, here's my forest moss. This one might mix. Oh, yeah, that's good. There we go. Get that green going on there. If I go out of the lines, I'm okay with that. I'm not going for perfection on these because this whole tag is not perfection. So it's just supposed to be kind of rough and there. But if you switch to craft, this color, I'm realizing on the craft paper, you really got to layer it up to get some pop off that color versus that lighter one. So, all right, we'll give. And I took my gold pen on my other one. And we're gonna do the same. And I just colored in with my gold gel pen, the ribbon. And then I took where the architect slash drawing dimension things are. I roughly traced over it with my gold pen here. Okay, and then I just did this just to throw some accents around my lines. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's just get the stocking. What green? I mixed mowed lawn with my forest moss. So my forest moss and forest moss mowed lawn, Melissa. I just had to get a little bit of a different green because the lighter one just wasn't popping up off of this craft paper, so I went to the forest. I could probably, instead of using the ink pad, I could spray down stuff on here and do distress sprays to color with too. Doesn't matter. Wet that up just a little bit. And then the red is the lumberjack plaid, is the red. And then I just kind of mix in almost all these for all the little presents and things in there. And I'm going to use a little bit of walnut for the teddy bear that's in there. Yeah, mowed lawn. Between mowed lawn and my twisted citron, my two favorite greens of this line. Big time. All right, I'm going to get out the gold again. I'm going to color this present gold. Do my lines. Now, the one that I saw, and I am not brave enough to do it yet, and I got to fix it and figure it out, but the one I saw, if Delise is still here, she'll appreciate this, had the sewing machine and did sewing all around the edges of their tag. I have not done that yet. I have a sewing machine. I got to fix it and get the needles and things and threaded and get all that stuff figured out. So I have not done that. So, but it looked really cool. Let's see. This one is just a little selvage patina to give me that little winter kind of feel on it. I'm just putting this one over where the snowflakes are on this stamp. Like so. And then I'm going to do the red for the bulb. And then I'll accent this one in gold as well. Again, I'm just roughing this in. I just don't, because this is a rough, it's supposed to look like a rough sketch, right? Okay. Do my lines. Gold little top. Then I just go through where the lines are on this one and add some in. I'm going to do that on the stocking too, actually, just to give it a little something, something. Okay, that's it for our stamps. I'm going to dry this just a little bit so that my ink dries. And then I'll show you how I tear these out and put them on the on the tag and wrap up the tag. Yeah, Delise does a lot of sewing on her stuff. She's inspired me, and then these other mixed media ones I see sewing. I was gonna sew this one, but I was like, nope, I'm gonna need to practice that on the side off camera before I mean, literally, I just came up with this idea like yesterday morning, after thinking about my live last night for Brutus Monroe and Walter. So I was gonna do something totally different for tonight, and then I'm like, nope, Christmas in July. Got to use this stamp set. Got to try this. Okay, let me wipe this up too so I don't smear everything. Get that off. All right, now to tear this stuff, I take a big, let me grab one. I take a big watercolor brush, all right? I'm gonna wet it and I'm gonna trace around and wet this, and when this is wet, the paper tears way more controlled and way more even, okay? And then you can tear it and control it much, much better. So just make sure that you get it good and wet all the way through so that it will tear. And I'm gonna go down that edge because I need to tear this down to size, so we're just gonna trace around. Now, watch this. This is just what makes it cool to tear. Very gently, I can take and control this much easier, and I get a little bit more feathered out kind of tear, so that when I go to glue this down with medium, I can smooth out those edges easier. Okay, I'm gonna wet this one just a little bit closer so I don't have as much overhang on that one. Don't go fast because it will tear like any other paper if you go too fast. So I'm just kind of going slow and controlled, but staying in the wet area so that I get a nice tear off of that. And, oh, did I just crumple up one of them? I did, didn't I? Yep, that's all right. It was crumpled up anyway. All right, tear off this one. And I know it sounds odd, but now before I add glue to this, I do want to dry this so that it doesn't keep tearing as I brush this on. So then re-dry. And this paper dries pretty quick, so it doesn't take very long. Just re-dry your paper. And then we're going to use that gel medium to glue this down. All right. Now, let's take your tag. It's hard to see the sparkle on camera, but you can see some of the gold glistening for sure. There it is. You can see that shimmer happening from that barn door and the brass. Okay, now I want this one in the middle, I think. And then I'm going to tear this just a tiny bit more. Like so. So I'm going to go here, here, and then here. But I'm going to tuck. So I want that third one. Nope, I'm going to go over. This is going to go under, actually. And then here. And we're going to use the gel medium to glue this down. Let me grab my gel medium and a new sponge brush. So I'm just using another cheap old sponge brush. They wash up easily, and if it dries and hardens and you forget to wash it, it's cheap enough you can throw them away. All right. Now I'm going to start with my middle piece. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this down really quick over the top because I don't want to smear my ink, and then smush it down so I get it onto the textured paper and into the grooves, so it's not, I don't want this up too much, because otherwise it would just kind of sit on the surface like this, and I want this to be part of the tag, so I'm going to smush this in. All right, And it just helps it adhere to all that texture paste easier by just smushing this in. All right. And then smush. And I'm just giving this a little bit around the edges without getting on my ink. And smush that in. And that kind of takes on that texture. Okay? Now let's do the one on the top here. And I'm using a fair amount of gel medium for this so that it has, well, lack of a better term, it has smushability and workability. So it gets in there. It's kind of like decoupaging. I guess is the best way to, decoupaging. Like Mod Podge. You could use that too if you wanted to. It just, that dries much harder though, remember. Get that over a little bit. Smush that in. Well, hello, Walter. Welcome, my friend. We were just talking about the beginning here. We were talking about Elfie Elton that showed up last night. Everyone loved it. You were cracking us up big time. All right. Now I need one more texture to this. Then we're going to wrap some twine. And we've got ourselves a tag, okay? So I want to take and give this a little bit more shine, and then I need some snow. I need some white effect, right? So I'm going to use the Picket Fence Spray Stain, and I'm going to use my brass with my barn door again. So let's just do those first because I don't want to cover up the white as much. And I'm just going to give this a little bit over my paper. You got to make sure, especially stuff with mica, it settles on the bottom, so you got to give it a good shake. Elfton John, yes, thank you. All right. Dry this, and then we're going to do one last splatter to this. Anything with mica, remember, dries really quick too, so. And I'm going to give this a lot of splatter. And I sometimes will mix like my Picket Fence with my Amsterdam acrylic that I have that I love for splatter. I have colored ones. This white one I love. But you got to make sure you got things good and dry because they will take up some of that color. So it's kind of like the paste. They'll take on some of that. Layla, well, a little bit of prep. I didn't do a whole lot of prep, actually. I'm surprised I didn't do more. I didn't start getting a little nervous till right before the live because I haven't done one alone for so long. But, yeah, I'm staying on task. I think it's yeah, you're right. 53 minutes, I'm good. I haven't made my sentiment yet, but that's okay because that's not going to take me very long. I save sentiments till I should do sentiments first. I know I've said it before on my lives. I hate doing sentiments. I don't know why. I just hate it. They're annoying. I know you need them. I always save them till last. I should do them at first just to get them done and over with. But then I feel like sentiments is one of those. You got it. Sometimes your thing changes where you might have to place it somewhere different, and so I always save it till last. All right, let me just see. That feels good and dry, actually. All right, let me just wipe this up. Let's do some splatter and a sentiment and some twine and some baker's string. And we got ourselves a grungy Christmas tag. Okay. All right, get this mixed up. I'm going to do the Picket Fence first. It's thinner. This is a thinner base than like this one is, so I switch back and forth or I mix it. Just because if one gets too translucent, I add more from the other one. And I can never decide because it just depends on what I've done. If it picks up or if it's still wet or what. So, all right. I'm not going to spray this because I want this chunky. So I'm just going to flick out of the bottle. Like so. And I want a lot. I like that a lot. Like that a lot. All right. Let me dry this. I feel like sometimes you got to dry it quick too with these whites because look at how much that's picking up the ink, the color already. So the faster I can get it dry before it starts picking up that color. I might add a little bit of this acrylic one too. I need to find, maybe I need to get a white paint because sometimes this stuff gets really liquidy and it picks up the other colors. So maybe a thicker white paint too. Oh, you guys. I wouldn't say fearless. Yes, I will try almost anything, whether it turns out or not, even on camera, because it is what it is, and we're all here to learn. So that doesn't scare me. But yeah, I'm going to throw a little bit extra, I think, on here from this one, to be honest. I need a good white. If anybody has a suggestion, put it in the comments for me. I struggle with this where it picks up the color and doesn't stay true white. So am I missing a product? Do I need acrylic paint or what do I need? Because I can never get it to stay true white. True snowy. If I've got ink stuff. I mean, obviously, if it's on just lightly colored paper or something, yes, I can do that. But okay, now for my sentiment, I'm pulling out yet another step. Oh, you know what? I want to add one more thing. Okay, here we go. 3 minutes, 2, and I'm pulling out. I forgot. I had them sitting over here. I'm going to sit this out to dry because I do want to do this. No, I'm not because I was going to put it on. Here's what. Let me show you. I wanted to add from my sample. I thought it would be fun to add some leaves, but I would have tucked them behind. I'm going to skip this. But my idea was I got out some vellum, and I thought it would be fun to spray some vellum and dry it with some golds and some greens, and then tuck it behind. I could probably put some in the corner. Let's do that. We're gonna try it. Let's just do it. You know what I'm doing? I'm just trying to avoid putting on a sentiment. That's what I'm actually doing. So we may or may not put on a sentiment. If this takes me too long, then we're not going to do a sentiment. But I'm gonna run through 2 leaves on here with my vellum, and then color them, and then I'm gonna tack them in that corner. Sorry if it's shaking. My countertop here is not screwed down real well. You couldn't do that splatter. Why? Because you feel like it ruins it. I love splatter because I feel like it covers up all the icky stuff. I splatter a lot of cards. Thank you to Amy Prairie on the Prairie or whatever her name is. I can't remember the exact name now offhand that I'm on the spot trying to think of it. I watch her and she splatters everything and she's inspired me. Picket Fence Distress Paint. Okay. Or the Altenew White Spray Ink. All right, I got to mark those down because I knew it's probably going to have to be an acrylic or something thicker is what I kind of figured. Okay. I'm doing vellum because I wanted some clearness to them and I wanted some color to pop on them. So get this back out. And I'm going to do my moss and my brass, like so. Grab my brass. Amy R., thank you. Love her stuff. Her videos and everything, I love. Love her style, love her banter, love her splatter. Everything in between. You know what? That's not going to work. Because it's going to melt. It's already melting on me. So I'm going to, we're going to skip that. That was my idea, but we're going to skip that because I'm going to put my sentiment on. My sentiment, I'm going to use the Winter Bells. That was really dumb of me because I knew that was going to melt. And then I'm using, this is another stamp set that came with that surprise thing at Christmas, or had all the Christmas stuff I never got to use. And this was one of them that I researched how to put rust on a truck. This is one of the reasons why I did that. And how I found the rusty hinge. So I haven't practiced it on this stamp set, but I practiced it on a different one. All right, I'm going to stamp this in red and cut it out, grunge up the edges, and that's it. Oh, one and done on that one. That rarely happens. Dang, one and done? Love it. This does not have a die, but it has nice straight edges to fussy cut. Yeah, this set, this stamp, this is such an adorable stamp set, and I did not use anything out of it last year before Christmas was done. So this one's definitely going to have to do some videos this holiday season with that one. Might have to restrict my buying for holiday. I have a lot of holiday stuff I haven't used, and so I just save some money over Christmas and not buy a ton because I have stuff I just haven't used or used enough, right? I think I have a couple sets that I used for one or two cards, and then that was it. So definitely got some stuff I could make some ideas with. Jana, welcome, my friend. Almost done. Here's my tag. I was gonna add some leaves with some vellum last minute, but that melted on me because I forgot that melts with heat. I'm making my sentiment, and then we're going to wrap this with some twine, and I'll be good to go. Grungy Christmas tag was the goal here. And I got inspired basically from Welch's Night Live last night with this one. I changed up what I was going to do tonight because we did some vintage vibey stuff, and then I remembered I had this Tim Holtz set for some vibe, so for some vintage grungy stuff. So, all right, let me just grab this one and dirty it up a little bit with what's left on there. Little rusty hinge on it too, why not? And I'm gonna leave this. I'm not gonna glue it. I'm not gonna do anything to it. I just want that to pop. So let's just give it some dimensionals on the back. Like so. And then I'm gonna add my twine. Oh, good, Layla. I'm glad it gave you some ideas. I know I've got stuff in my drawers I just haven't touched, and then I need to watch. I need to do. I've seen a lot more videos lately of using stash or recreate something. Christopher just did one tonight on his live of one of our design team's cards. He got the inspiration from the design team card. He made his own version of it. I just saw Gina Kay do that the other night. I need to do a little bit more of that, I think, as well. Okay, I'm going to go in between here because I'm going to put my twine right above it. I'm going to go in between those two images, like so. And then I wanted to mix these two. On my sample one, I just did my brown, but I want some red in there as well. So we're going to mix them up. Hi, Cordelia. You're catching me at the very tail end, but that's all right. There's always the replay. All right. I am just going to give this a good amount of twine. I want lots on there. And then I'm going to spread it out. Like so. Let me grab a... I, yes, learned that from Amy R. With the tweezer thing. And it works for sure to hold everything. I am the worst at getting this all straight, so it's gonna be wonky, and I'm gonna be okay with that. Oh, that's not so bad actually, I don't think. All right, cut and cut, and then I want one more piece here to go up on top. Like so. And I'm going to double that up. And then make this as my hanger. I think this would be perfect like on a gift bag or something for Christmas. Throw a wine bottle in a gift bag, and then this would be the great tag for it. All right. I could add some bling, but I'm not gonna. I like the mutiness of it, to be honest. It's very muted, but I like that, and I'm gonna keep those rough edges that are hanging over, and there you have it. There is our wonky is required. Thank you, thank you. Stamper girl, Delise, you're on. Why are you on cloud 9? What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? I missed something. Okay, I'm going to bring this in. Here's my vintage inspired tag with the distress line. I wanted this super textured. I wanted lots of craft paper and things. And then the stamp set, this stamp set inspired me from Walters and I Live last night. That inspired me with this vintage set. So this vintage inspired me to go here. And so that's what I ended up with. All right. I'm going to show you. Let's go back up front here to the front camera. Let me just show you on the front. Oh, that looks really good on that camera. This upper camera I've been having issues with, and I got to get a new one, I think. That looks really good in that camera. So hopefully this inspired you just a little bit to go grunge. Go grunge. It doesn't have to be bright, pretty gold, red, and green all the time for Christmas. Now, I want to show you. It's not all the way dry yet, so it's still not. But you can see how this one's going to look different, right? With the plaid showing underneath. Once this dries, it's still wet. That will dry clear. That should all pop through with plaid, with random snow. And then if I was to paint in here more like I was with this one, you'll get a different effect, right? Can't wait to finish this one. It's going to look different, but similar kind of feel on that. So there you have it, you guys. Thank you so very much for hanging with me on this live. I didn't do so bad. It's only 8 minutes after. So that's not bad for not doing a live for a very, very long time, besides our Bruce Monroe one. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Appreciate it. If you're new here, you can follow me on Instagram and on YouTube here at Manly Made Minute. And my goal here now is to get back. I used to do my lives on Thursday nights. You should see me live on Thursday nights. And who knows what you're going to get. It might be just a stamp. It might be, who knows. I'm going to mix it up like I always used to and go from there. So thank you guys so much for hanging with me. And until next time, I'll see you then.